Important terms. This is a list of the most important terms that we will have from the textbook. As you know, if you go to the syllabus, in the page 3, you will find a link to allow you to look at the books that are in the library for this particular class. For Structures 1, we have the Simplified Mechanics of Ambrose, and for Structures 2, the Underwood and Cuny. You can click in the link and go to the site of the university. Thereafter, you will be transferred to the library. You will need to sign. I already signed, and you will be able to read online the book. In this case, it's the book for the review of Structures 1, or download the full book for 21 days, or download the chapters. We will need to look at the chapters 1, 2, and 4. However, because I know that many students are quite busy, I will suggest you to look at the chapter 2 and 4 to do the exercises and understand how to do the diagrams, even if the process that I use is different, and look at the theory in the slides that I already prepared. I mean, in this particular PDF that I prepare. Well, we will have here the important terms for each one of the chapters. Starting with chapter 1, we have what is a bearing wall, for example, that is the wall that is carrying loads that are applied, a bending, that is the concept that allow you to understand how a member can change of curvature. I will be doing some drawings to help to understand this. If we have a beam, the beam will bend when we apply a force in the superior part of the beam. Combination of loads, that is something that you are supposed to study in structures 1. If we have a force that is applied to a body and we have another force, we can put them together and we will have a combination of these forces, like a summatory of the different forces. A curtain wall is an exterior wall that do not support a structural element. A cut section is when we have, for example, a column or a beam, and we cut that beam in 2 parts, and we look what happens in the left and in the right of that material, and the section will be that surface that has been cut in the beam. We have dead loads that are permanent. It's important to understand how to calculate the dead loads. Dead loads are the ones that depends of the weight that the structural element, beam or column, is supporting, and that will be a calculation of all the weights of those elements. And as I explained before, usually what happens is that every material has a particular weight. We will look the quantity of material that we have in cubic feet and multiply by the weight of that material. We have the defect profile of a structure. For example, a beam like this one is supported in the center by a reaction. If we put 2 forces, that beam will tend to have a profile deformed and deflect like this one. Well, these 2 areas will go down and the central area will stay in the original place. We have the dispersion of loads, is how the loads are arranged. What is a ductile material is the one that will experience a plastic deformation when we have a very strong stress without get a fracture. A dynamic load, that is like the one that have a time dimension like the wind. Equilibrium is a balanced condition when the resultant of all the forces is equal to 0. We need to understand that there are several types of equilibriums, and we are speaking about an equilibrium where we don't have movement. Free body diagram, we imagine that we isolate the structure and all the exterior forces of the structure are shown. A fundamental period, internal force, loads. Well, there is a lot of information that you may want to memorize all these concepts because several of them will be in the test. Thereafter, you will see that we have the same with chapter number 2. And we have also chapter number 3 that is not included. I just didn't want to erase. And we have some other concepts in the chapter number 4. Chapter number 4, you will have the explanation how to calculate the diagrams. Well, I would like you guys to look at that and look at those exercises because they may be similar to the one of the test.